really watch a good ball game. Very competitive.
Structure of the PBA is great. You know, you don't find too many leagues that's not making no money for us, like getting paid, players getting paid to play. You know, organized, I'm saying the setup, the way they got it set up, you know, it's great. Go by the rules, follow the rules, do what you're supposed to do. You know, that keep everybody together as one, you know.
2022 season, organization. I love the way that the league keeps up with players' stats and let everyone gets a chance to show their skills by recording the guys, recording the teams, seeing everyone smile and family get together just to watch a good game of baseball. And this league just does something different from a lot of other leagues that a lot of people don't see. And we just trying to make it one of the best leagues around down here in the South.
All right, so 2022, this was a year that the league really, it took its next step that was kind of on the off the baseball field side of things, because we ended up having, like, Tanya got together the website and made it run really good. And then Nikki was having meetings and stuff about rules. He was getting all the managers, all the teams together, making sure for the most part everybody agreed on everything. And then he was also getting like an all-star meeting together where we drafted players. And it's like, he wasn't just having us come out, play a season, and just have baseball. We were coming out and, like, we had events for the league. Like, he's doing everything he can to make it bigger than it should be. And I think that's just really cool. Like, we got all the stats on the website, and for the teams that actually, like, keep their stats correctly, it's really cool. And it's nice to look back 5 years from today and see what you did in year one versus now. It's just really cool.
I love the organization of this league because they keep the records, they keep the stats. That way you come back and you can see back in time all your numbers and stuff like that. Even in every game, they have a professional photographers. That's good.
Oh, okay. What I'm going to say now is about the time that I really got started. I got started in 1968, and I came from Vietnam, and I got started umpire in Germany because I didn't want to go to the field because I had had enough of that when I was in Vietnam. So I started umpiring in Germany. Then when I got out of the service in 1968, I started umpiring in this. Well, it wasn't really what's considered a league. It was something like what they consider being a bush league, but I participated in that, and now I'm up until 55 years of umpiring. But it have improved a whole lot as far as, you know, organization and respect for each other and all the little small minor things that we have contributed to the game and to some of the people that participated as far as making this league as a whole lot better league than it was a long time ago. And so I'm just saying that it is great to the point now where it is that you can go to a ball game and you can sit down and you can just really watch a good ball game. It's none of that fussing and raising sand and stuff like that. It's just great. You can bring the kids out and watch this ball game. It's very, very competitive with far as the ball players and stuff like that. So you got a lot of guys that play semi-pro. You got a lot of guys play college. So really what the thing is, it's just a big organization as far as participation. You meet so many different types of people. And so, you know, it's just so great to participate in it. So, you know, I'd say, you know, if you're a younger person and you got the time to do this kind of stuff right here, hey, please get into it. You know, some of the team would be ready to welcome you to come in and participate, you know, to try to do the best that you can.
Just along with the organization and structure, you know, there's opportunities to get involved. You know, they're looking to do things out in the community or activities at Duncan Park, the Play Ball Initiative. The league does a good job of communicating that stuff to the players as part of the growth of the league. Another thing that's become established is the division play of the league. Those built-in rivalries every year. The Astros and the Braves have became one. Over in the Western Division, of course, the Blue Jays and the Padres. And just that structure and that stability of the league has brought on those natural rivalries. And that's something that everybody gets hyped up for every year. And another thing that's really exciting, and especially for me personally, has always been just the stat the records. It's written down, the performances of the game. The teams keep up with the scorebook. So seeing that progression, seeing the superlatives, it's one of those things that for me, I strive for that excellence. And then the fact that we keep those records for posterity, I'll be able to look back when I'm an old man and can't play the game anymore and point to accomplishments that I had out on the field. And that's just a big part of it. And that's just something that's neat. You grow up reading baseball cards and looking at those records, and numbers are such a huge part of the game. And having the PBA establish that just really brings a feel to it that's really exciting.
So now we're in 2022. This is Randall back at again. Maybe we're going to talk a little bit about now the transitioning that is happening from just a baseball league with a bunch of good players to now a semi-professional organized league in all levels. Not only on the field, but to have a good product on the field now, we got to figure out, okay, administration, stats, awards, banquets, keep everything in a way that it looks professional so we can attract a lot more players. So that part is not easy because, also, you are exploring an area that we're not used to, a lot of times. But the board really started, Tanya, the leadership with Tanya and Nikki, getting these ideas where, hey, we gotta do more for the players. We got to not only do an all-star game event that is okay, now we gotta do an all-star game that is really good because we got a really good product, great players. Now let's just continue expanding. Where are we doing this all-star game? What is the venue? How are we gonna award and motivate these players to really come to this all-star game with prizes and things like that? And then at the end of the season, individual accomplishments other than just the championship team, right? There's stolen bases, there's body leaders, RBIs, coach of the year, stuff that now we can track. And as we move forward, all of a sudden, you got guys that are working their way to be on the Hall of Fame in the PBA, that we go back and look at all these stats and all of these things that they've been doing year after year. It motivates everybody because now they know that, we're keeping track of it. So, it has been a great transition. There's a lot more to do with it, but I think the key is just what happens from the very first year in 2018 to where we are in 2022 talking about it right now is just the organization. So everything is more automated. There's a structure on how things are going to be done. The meetings, what are we talking about in these meetings? How can we grow? How can we help out other players? How can we go about supporting teams when they have tragedies that occurs? We're dealing with people here, so accident happens. Somebody lost their life. How does the league go about that? How can we have empathy to those members that have suffered a loss? So all of that in place is just continue part of our growth as a league that is here to stay and continue growing for a long time. We just gotta be ahead of it. We gotta continue that, and that's what we've been doing. And this was a key year. 2022 was a key year for that because we put it together. Now on the field, off the field, organization-wise, players, and all of that. So see you on the next one.
All right, so 2022 was my second year in the PBA, and I really got a taste of the organization and the structure of the league because it was my first year as a coach in the PBA. And I remember just going from other leagues, and there's not a whole lot of organization. You might show up to fields without umpires. There might not be money for umpires, stuff like that. In the PBA, that's not the case. We've always got umpires to show up. The structure and the organization of the league is really good. All the teams always have enough players to play. They keep stats, which I thought was really cool. I didn't realize that my first year in the league that they were keeping stats. I found out my second year that they actually, not only do they keep season statistics, but they also keep career statistics. And that's one thing I was super interested in, to find out that guys that have been playing in this league for 5-6 years, you can go back and actually look how you've done over your entire career and compare players and stuff like that. So that's one thing I like. All baseball players are stat heads. That's one thing that I've always loved, is looking at numbers and comparing numbers and stuff like that. I actually realized about halfway through my second year that I was chasing another guy in this documentary, Blake Smith, in the career stolen base record, and I'm still chasing him. We got a little bit of work to do, but I'm catching up to him, and I think it's just goes to show you how much work Tanya and the board put in to make sure that it's a well-run league. Like I said, season stats, career stats. We never have problems with umpires, never have problems getting fields. It all works really well, and that's a credit to, like I said, Tanya and the board.
Forming the PBA, it requires a lot of organization and structure, and it's something that that I try to do the organization part. The structure part is really hard. I try to do both, but it's hard. Tanya does a lot of that when it comes to organization and structure, and with her job and what she does. Tanya,
our first step was getting a website, someplace where players could go and get the information they needed. That was very important in our growth, and it was very important in just helping us get our vision and get our information out to the public. We also took advantage of social media. That tends to be the most popular, and along with the social media and the websites, we keep stats.
Exactly.
Which is something that you don't see in the upstate.
In a lot of leagues, you don't see the stats. And I think these players like to see their numbers. Going through the season, these guys play. It's easy to say you hit 12 home runs, 340, but if you ain't got numbers backing it up, that's just a myth. And a lot of ideas that I have, I try to present them to Tanya, and Tanya put them to life, such as player of the weeks, some of the events that we have. She create different computer things or whatever. What you do?
The stats are so important. You can't talk about baseball without talking about stats. You can value. You can see the value of a player. You can measure their success. Coaches can use them as tools for the strategies for the next game or so, and we also use the stats to do awards at the end of the year for accolades, and the players really appreciate that.
And it's a lot of work, and a lot of people don't see behind the scenes or put it out there. A lot of people don't see what we actually do, but it's a lot of work preparing for our banquet, our preseason tournament, even the All-Star games, waiver wire. You can go on and on and on. Also, the events that we have, we in tie with Major League Baseball. It's something that people don't see without. How long have we been doing Play Ball USA?
Since 2018.
That's a very important event in the PBA. It's an event that attracts the younger ball player, but also attracts the minority. It's a program that's centered around bringing in minority in baseball, and we try to do that in the PBA. We try to be very diverse, like we talked about, but also in the process we try to be organized too. So like such as banquets, a lot of people don't see. Tanya does a lot preparing for this banquet, ordering plaques and trophies,
banners,
certificates, printing out. So it's more of a recruiting tool for players, different players in high school stuff to come into the PBA and see that we're an organized organization who tries to do everything right, including bylaws, including conduct of players, and also the financial. You can tell them the financial report.
Yeah, we keep a public financial report. It's on the website. Everybody can look at it and see where the league stands. And not to mention, we also do an all-star draft.
Also draft.
Yeah, the players really love that. We actually have the 2 winningest coaches in the division, and they do a draft of players for the all-star game.
You know, your expertise and the financial report, Tony, break down the end of the season, how from top to bottom these teams get reimbursed with some money and start from the bottom. How does it work?
Well, our entry fee is usually around $425, and if a team pays all of their dues and owes no fines or fees, they will get reimbursed $300. So it's really only $125 to play in our league.
That's pretty good. And the players, you know, a lot of leagues I see the players pay $300, $400, $500 to play. Here in the PBA, you know, it's $25. So we try to do things and cater to the community and also recruit to in the PBA.
Going into the 2022 season, in 2022, Laricus Hughes of the Cross Keys White Sox, a longtime Hall of Fame veteran in the PBA. Laricus had a great season that season, leading the White Sox to a close, but coming in second in that Eastern Division. That season, Laricus batted .403 with 17 runs, 21 RBIs, and 15 stolen bases that season. Over in the Western Division, first-year player for the Carolina Blue Jays, Rans Bodison. Rans came into the season freshly here in the PBA. The Rans had a great season, batting .481, 34 RBIs, 34 runs scored to help lead the Carolina Blue Jays to another PBA championship series versus the Carolina Padres. For the pitching performance that season, Lathan Galbraith of the Greenville Pioneers had a great season on the mound. In 2022, Lathan helped lead the division-winning Greenville Pioneers with a 5-1 record, 1.88 ERA with 56 strikeouts. Over in the Western Division in 2022, it was Charlie Rosario. Charlie had a magical season that year. Charlie helped lead the Carolina Padres with a 9-0 record, 54 strikeouts with a 0.40 ERA, 4 complete games, and 4 shutouts. That season, equally better was Nefi Orgando. Nefi had 4 saves and 51 strikeouts in 26 innings with a 0.00 ERA, but Charlie Rosario took the honors. That season, the Carolina Padres pitching staff may have been the best or the most talented assembled pitching staff in PBA history, as the Carolina Padres went on to go to the finals versus the Carolina Blue Jays. And that was a series very well anticipated from the beginning of the season by both the league and both teams. As the Padres lose game 1, Charlie Rosario with his first loss in PBA history, as the Padres went on to win game 2, 3, and 4 to capture another PBA title.
Going into the 22 season, it's a 22 season, right?
Yeah, 22.
We had just won the championship. We lost in 21.
21 we lost.
22 going to season. There was a lot of changes that year, but I felt like we got strong on the pitching end, and I knew it was going to be a tough year because I know Austin was going through being a father the first time. Austin, you know, that year, what it was like, you know, not being able to be a part of a team for a full time like you have been. You know, going through that year, what was going through your mind?
It was a big shift in my life. I mean, my wife did an amazing job of being there for the baby, and I tried to make it a point to be around the house on the weekends to get certain things done. and baseball wasn't exactly a priority for us at that time. But I mean, these boys kept showing up to the field and getting their work in and winning games, and it ended up taking us all the way that year.
So losing a veteran like that year, he was there enough, but the transition period of, I didn't have a first baseman at that point, so going on down the series, I had to rely on Jake, and it was one of those tough things. But my pitching was gonna carry us. But I felt like we had probably the strongest team we ever had, and going into the playoffs, I think everybody had said they're gonna win the championship. We had one of those teams where everybody just knew was gonna win it, and even in Game 1 was a game we fell apart. I don't know if you remember Game 1. I think we made, if I'm not mistaken, it was like
We made a lot of errors. Yes, we did. We made a lot of errors.
Something like that. It might have been 7. And I went with the pitcher of the year, Charlie. Charlie on the mound, you figure you're going to win that game.
Yeah.
And we wanted revenge from the Blue Jays. You know, we felt like they disrespected us.
We wanted to take back what we worked hard for. But, 2021 actually was a humbling year for us. It made us think about what we could have, should have done.
Right.
And then you taking all that in the off season and made the moves and the changes and knowing where we were weak, where we needed to be stronger. That was a big thing. And then, you helped us get to that stepping point. A mother's job is 24/7, and you got to go in there and give her that break. And on the weekends, that's what you had to do and step up to be the man. And Nick stepped up to be, at the helm for us. 2022 was what changes we had to make, where we had to get stronger. And in the back of our mind was, we're not going to let 2021 repeat itself, where we're not going to be the victors of that championship. Because 2022, we almost went undefeated, didn't we?
Yeah, we almost went.
Yeah, we almost went undefeated.
We pretty much let teams win 2 games.
Well, that's when we got into our cruise control.
Yeah.
And once we got into that level, we were done. But with the pitching staff, we actually had an outfield.
Oh, we had a strong.
We had an infield minus a first baseman, but Jake stepped up and did his job. You can't say nothing bad about Jake. He did what he had to do, which was
Jake's
great.
bat.
Jake's bat.
Jake can swing the bat.
He can swing the bat. You got to find a spot for him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Game 1 was.
It was a complete defensive breakdown. It was a defensive breakdown. It was one of the worst defensive games that I ever seen us play. And we ended up losing that game. And but I'm gonna be honest with you. In 21, when we lost,
yeah,
we was totally disrespected. We showed respect for the team that beat us. We shook their hand, went through line.
We clapped for them.
Hugged the coach and say, "Great job." But they disrespected us that year. Now, I said we got to come back strong, and we lose Game 1. I'm like, I cannot let this happen again. And going into Game 2, we started Neffy.
Yep.
Neffy has not started the game all year, I don't think.
No, Neffy was our closer the whole season. He concentrated on 2, maybe 3 innings, but through the whole season, that's what his role was. But then he stepped up and said he wanted to pitch.
And he threw
7.
He threw 8. He threw 1.
Yes, that's right. I came in. Yeah.
And here's the thing with that series: we did the same thing defensively that we did Game 1.
Yeah.
We made several errors, and at that point, I think I counted the book. In 2 games, we was up to 15 errors. I never seen anything like it, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But we actually won that game. Matt came in and closed it. He closed that game. We won, and the series tied 1-1. Now we got to go back to Entryville. And in Game 3, I don't know if y'all was at Game 3. Game 3. We was behind in Game 3. Late in the game, Charlie pitching again. Everything they hit was finding holes. It wasn't like they was killing the ball, just the ball was getting through the shortstop. It was just finding holes. I think I started Jeremiah that game.
Yeah, he did start Jeremiah that game. He did start that game.
I started Jeremiah that game.
He did good.
He did good. The ball was just finding holes. Unless Jeremiah started Game 4. I think Charlie started. I tell you that. Charlie started Game 3.
Jeremiah started Game 4.
Jeremiah started Game 4. We actually ended up winning that game, and because they was up in like the 8th inning, the shortstop made a bad throw, gave us life. We ended up winning that game in Game 3. So we came back. And that's one thing about the 2022 version of the Padres. We could come back. This team could come back and win any game. We just had that offensive power.
If another team, okay, so basically, when the Blue Jays made an error, we compensated and we took full advantage of it.
Definitely, we kept it.
But then, once you leave a pitcher in too long, especially with our hitting, 3-4 times in the lineup, we're gonna pick up, and we did.
It was a potent lineup.
Yeah,
it was. And in 2022.
Yes, it was.
Going
Even though Mr. Austin hurt.
Game 4. Going into Game 4. We up 2-1 in the series. We need that win to close it out. Jeremiah started him lefty. I got a lot of confidence in Jeremiah Garcia. I started him, and I said, okay, we got to get this win. We got to get this one to get revenge. This revenge for me. This was business. This year was business.
It was business.
It's business. So, Jeremiah went out, did a good job, but guess what? They balls was finding holes again. Now, before that game started, we made some errors, and first base came into play. That whole series, and nothing against Jake. Jake does a good job at the plate. And he kind of hurt us a little bit in Game 4. So I made an adjustment. I started a pitcher at first base. I don't know if you remember. Charlie Rosario started first.
I remember Charlie.
I had to do something because I think, but Jake Bat was still in the lineup.
Jake Bat was still in the
lineup. And guess what? We was down in like the 8th inning again, and we rallied. So now at this point we down 1 with Richard Dix on second.
Yep.
Charlie comes to the plate, a pitcher who Charlie might have had all year maybe 4 at-bats. But I started him. I got faith in him because of the fact that he's an athlete. Charlie gets a bloop hit over the shortstop head and give us the game winner.
Yep.
Neffy comes in, and everybody know what time it is when Neffy comes in.
It was definitely lights out when Neffy comes in. But I do remember Richard Dix playing third base. You were going, Richard, move to the right. Ball hit to the left. Go to the left. Ball hit to the right. Poor Richard, he didn't know which way to go. I mean, the guy was out there treading water. He's like, that's when the ball was going right, left.
And that's a testament to the Blue Jays. We've played them more times than I can count. And every time we step on the field against these guys, they're always finding a way to stay in the game.
Yeah.
They're always finding a way to, whether they're talking or just playing ball, they do both. And these guys, there's a reason we see them in the championship so often.
Yeah.
Is because they're a bunch of ball players that play hard.
They do. And then when you say the talking, it's, there's a fine line between keeping the talking
respectful
outside the lines and then between the lines, and then you keep it professional. You need to keep it professional, but then when certain things are said, then that's when it becomes personal. And it should never get to that way.
No, it should never get to that.
Ever get to that way.
2023. Well, you look at it, Cross Keys White Sox, they came a long way. They seemed like they growed up from when we first started in 2018. They listen more. They when they baseball, like baseball supposed to be played. They first of all they started off they lazy, don't want to do nothing. Thought it was just all about the game until they really started seeing, you get this, you get that, you get tropes for this, you got stats, something that they never did in school to where they can always go back and show their kids, So feel like they done growed up a whole lot, but in the whole thing, the whole league, everybody plays at a grown person, grown people's standards. The way baseball supposed to be played.
2023 it ended very well. Every team is getting better. Every player is getting better. And with the way this league going, it's actually making you want to be better in every way. And I'm just glad to have the opportunity to keep playing and show my skills and just watch the league as the league grow and continue.
I love the calibers of the players of the league, the level of the players. I'm really impressed, the level of the kids. A lot of young talents, a lot of veterans that can't help it. Younger kids coming up. It's a really competitive league.
All right, so 2023, this year was really cool because this is where we knew everyone on every team. So the competition was a little different when you basically already have a scouting report on every player. You know what every dude's gonna do. Like it's really cool how that works out like that. So it kind of felt more like the MLB or something where this pitcher knows this batter because they faced him 14 times or whatever. Like this was the first time where I was like, I'm kind of worried when I face Matt Craig because he knows where to pitch me now. So I got to try to do something different than they're used to seeing. So it was just really, it was cool seeing the competitive this time because everybody knows what you do. So they know how to face you and have a better competitive aspect towards you.
One thing that's, another aspect of the PBA that you've really seen as the years go along is player development and player growth. The talent level, as the league has gained in popularity and different players have come into the league and then they bring someone that they knew, and it's really become a destination for players to still play ball past the collegiate level, or if they're in the collegiate level, it's a place where they can land, come and get in some work. We have many guys come through that are playing independent leagues elsewhere as they work on their career. We have lots of former pro ball players that come in. We've had some teams from our local minor league team, the Greenville Drive. We've got those players involved. And that's something that has really brought a level of excellence to the play on the field. And with the goal being to make, this league a place for players to come play, having that level of talent, even at my age, has made me a better baseball player. Having those guys that are there to push you, it's not just, your buddies in a cooler of drinks and going out there on Sunday like it is on softball. You can expect to go out there and play good baseball. And so it's pushed me to get better at the game. The longer I play, the better I want to get. And it's really brought up too, that level of competition between teams. Teams are always vying for good players. They're looking for good players. We have the waiver wire, which is a unique aspect of the league that allows allows players to make a change mid-season. Being able to change in the off-season has become a thing that you see a lot of activity there, a lot of gamesmanship. And it brings an element of drama to the season. Even the Astros this past year, we had a lot of player movement. We had some pieces move on to other teams. For a little bit there, it was looking like it was going to be a tough season, but that ability to grab other players and pull in places from and it be a place to play, we were able to pull it together and win the division. So it's just really exciting to see the league itself develop as good baseball and pull in good baseball players.
I started in this league at 17, and I developed facing good pitching, facing better competition. I was never an outfielder before I came into this league, and I've been playing outfield for 6 years. And this year I finally found some confidence at the plate and in the field, so it turned over well for me.
That's it.
I don't know.
2023 actually is my favorite year of the PBA. A lot of ups and downs, a full schedule again. Actually getting inducted to the Hall of Fame as an umpire. Great achievement for me. Very, very excited about that. 2023, I've got to see some great hitters, some great pitchers. Like he said, Neffy, throwing 90 plus. Just the competition in the PBA has really, really grown. And this season has kind of solidified the PBA will be here for years to come.
That's it.
The 2023 season, we started out, we added some high school guys, added some college guys to come get some work in, and it really shows the way we're able to develop players and stuff like that. The PBA allows high school players to come play for free and stuff like that. So those guys are able to get their work in. We had some guys that were committed to some local community colleges that wanted to come get some work in before they went off to college ball. It allows the older guys like us that have been playing in the league, and we've been through pro ball, we've been through college ball, we've already done all that. So it allows those younger guys to really be able to learn from us and take their game to the next level. And the PBA does a really good job of allowing us to do that. That was also a year where we saw a lot more pro guys come into the league. The player the quality of players definitely increased that year. We had, more pro guys, more ex-college guys, Now every team's running an arm out there that either played college or professional baseball. You've got multiple guys in the lineup that played at a high level, and the talent is starting to spread across the league where it's not just one or two teams that have this level of guys. Now you have every single team in the league that has, this level of players, and it allows those younger guys to learn and, better their game. It's a great developmental league for younger guys. A lot of the teams have, started to practice now, which really wasn't a thing my first couple years in the league. Nobody really practiced. It was just kind of a show and go on Sunday, show up and play a baseball game. But now the level of competition is getting so high that teams are starting to practice throughout the week, and everyone's having to up their game in order to stay on that talent level. And I think it's really good for the league as a whole, and especially those younger guys, college guys, high school guys that are coming back to get that work in the summer.
Awesome.
2023 was it was a good year. Really good competition all throughout the league. Pretty much almost every team has some good quality pitching that, more better than most leagues. Players like hit wise, all around teams are much better this year in equal competition for the most part.
2023 helped us learn who our players were because you had good competition throughout the league. You could go to play on Sundays or Saturdays. It was never a guarantee. You could be beat or you could win on any given Saturday or Sunday. So it allowed us to evaluate our players, make better decisions, helped us develop our players and see how other teams were developing their players.
You good?
Good.
Up in here. Got glasses.
So 2023, the league has come a long way since it first started, and we know that because of the talent that has come through here and stays here. We've got Nefi Ogando, former big league pitcher. We got Craig Stem, believe he was a AAA guy, and he also helped run Tread Athletics up in North Carolina, one of the premier pitching and player development facilities here on the East Coast. And I'll tell you what, man, facing Craig Stem earlier on this season, it was an eye-opener. This was the first chance that I had to step in the box against a guy throwing mid-90s with one of the nastiest sliders I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, you could just, define it as gas, just because, a normal person that never played the game wouldn't know what a 90-mile-per-hour fastball or a devastating slider would be. So if for the normal people, I can't say normal people, the people that never had the chance to play this game wouldn't understand what a 90-mile-per-hour fastball would look like, or especially when it's moving. But to even just go back with the whole developmental, what was his name out of Cross Keys? Carlos Jr. Now he's playing professional baseball, developing the players that, can come from nothing to the big show. That is a dream come true. Yeah. Like, for instance, when, of the Padres. You look at Will McBee when he first came on the scene with us. He won MVP. The way he developed through the years was sensational. But we all have those ups and downs. You're gonna be hot one year, you might be lukewarm, or you're cold. You never know. Then the kid Isaac that was going off to play college, he was a great player, hard-nosed, like my man Austin likes to say, a bulldog. Because I remember I had to take the helm for Nick one time. Yep. Isaac was on second. We were playing the Royals, and the shortstop was doing that, that little cut around. And Isaac didn't understand that much, but he was like, hey, pushing him, getting out of my way. And then I, as the manager that day, had to say, hey, Isaac, he's allowed to do that. So as a gentleman and a respect to this game, you will go over there when it's just you and him, you apologize as a man, and you go along your way. And he did it. And guess what? We never had a problem. We didn't have any, no fights, no verbal exchanges. It was just settled it, and then we went along our way, which was nice. Was because Isaac was playing with us, and then he went to Arizona to go play college ball. So, I'm pretty sure he picked up a few things along the way playing with us, the Padres, in the PBA.
I'll tell you what, man. I've been in this league since 2019, and myself, I've learned a lot from playing this game. From a mental side, like playing in this league has opened up the door for me to learn from this game and then pass it on to the kids that I've been blessed to be able to work with as well.
That's key.
Playing against Kelton for the championship in 2019, playing against the Rangers for the championship after that, those have been pivotal moments in my career. Just playing men's league ball on the weekends, like there's been serious learning points that I've been able to take away from this league and pass it on to the younger generation.
Well, you also got on the weekend, people think, weekend baseball for adult men. People the first thing they think of is, they're going out. It ain't about playing beer. After the game, drink a beer. No,
not this league.
This league, you have to develop yourself. You have to develop your arm. You have to make sure you got strong legs. Like I learned from you, you gotta make sure you eat right. You gotta make sure you stretch. Drink enough water. But then the older guys, I watch those guys and I'm like, how can I mentally be prepared like those guys do? Because playing professionally in Italy, with those Latin guys and the Italian guys, guys from all over the world, this league is, it's similar to playing, that level of professional baseball over in Italy because you got the diversity from the other, different parts of the world. But then, coming here, it's almost similar because the way each year, the players get better and they get stronger, they get bigger, they get faster. So you got to know how to, mentally prepare yourself and physically prepare yourself for that game.
And the reason this league has been so successful over the last 5 years is the talent that it's been able to reach out, grab, and hold on to. We've got so many guys with professional background. I can't count it. Guys that I've played with who play the game the right way, they've got the experience, and they show it on the field, and it brings this league a few steps above men's league baseball. This is not your traditional men's league.
No, it's not your traditional beer league. I've heard it before. It's not your roll off the couch, grab your glove, kind of go play ball on the weekend. It's you need to prepare yourself. You need to develop yourself. But then you could tell. But then you can also tell who's played at higher levels and who hasn't.
And those guys tend to gravitate to certain teams because of how those teams compete
and the way they operate.
Absolutely.
Some places they will allow you. They'll give you the inch, but then they'll give a foot. But once you get that foot, you're gonna say, well, maybe I can get a little bit more feet. But there's got to be where the coaches also have to be developed and say, hey, listen, this is how I run it. This is my way. And if you don't like it, I'll find another team. Yeah. But the development of the players through the years have gotten better. Yeah. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And we've got players who have started to pick up and take on the coaching roles. Blake with the Astros. He plays a major role in recruiting and making calls for his team.
And then Gene stepped up and helped him.
Yep.
I have to take over the role when Nick's not there.
Yeah.
But other than that, you can't say that this is a bush league because you have to mentally, physically be prepared.
Yeah. Seeing a lot of young guys coming to the PBA, a lot of guys that I brought into the league or I coached or managed, seeing those guys develop into what they are now is amazing. And we're talking about over a 7-year period that I'm seeing guys go from guys in high school, just out of high school, maybe first year in college, to guys that now is elite players here in the PBA. And it's not easy. From what I've seen, high school players come into this league, they don't be successful. They're not successful right away. It takes them, 4 or 5 years before they finally develop in this league, because you come into a league where you're actually facing guys that's been in the major leagues, guys that's definitely fresh still in college, or guys that's fresh in minor league baseball. So that's what you're facing here in the PBA. The league itself had advanced to that point. I mean, 2018, 19, and 20, you can see where there was some weakness in the PBA, but as we went along, we got into later 20, 21, 22, you're seeing, average pitching going up to 90, 94. You're seeing it. So we've become a league where player development is important. Some guys just don't make the cut. They play a few years and they realize they're not as successful as they thought they would be, and then they don't show up. But the type of talent that comes into the PBA sometimes is amazing. You're facing guys that's been to the majors or been to the minor league ball. It's kind of rough. It's rough on teams not used to seeing that. But actually, as we've been along in the wood bat league, you see guys start to adjust to it. Now, as we go into 2022, 23, 24, it's not an uncommon thing to have professional players here in the PBA.
In 2023, Gene Vincent of the Upstate Astros made history. Gene was the top pitcher that season for the Upstate Astros, as Gene helped lead the Astros to their first ever division title with a 8-2 record with a 2.80 ERA, 84 strikeouts, 79 innings pitched. Not only that was impressive, but Gene also took MVP honors that season in the Eastern Division with a 450 average, 12 RBIs, as the Astros captured their first ever division title. Over in the West, Connor Dahl of the Carolina Padres finished the season with a 431 average, 21 RBIs, 18 runs, as Connor went on to also capture MVP honors in the championship series as the Padres took on the Carolina Blue Jays. Top pitcher in the West that season, the top pitcher was Nefi Orgando. Nefi was completely dominant throughout the season and also in the playoffs. That regular season, Nefi was 5-1, 48 strikeouts, and a .32 ERA. Not only was Nefi the top pitcher in the regular season, but also in the championship series, Nefi took home top pitcher honors as well, as the Carolina Padres went on to capture their 5th PBA title, but also back-to-back PBA titles over the Carolina Blue Jays.
2023 season, welcome back, Austin. Austin is back. Going into this season now, I'll be honest with you, we lost a lot. And it was one of these years where it was a rebuilding season for the Padres. It was a straight rebuilding season that we didn't have no star power. When I say star power, I mean we lost one out of 8 pitchers. We lost all our outfield.
We had no outfield that year. But again, it ended up being the Padres and the Blue Jays.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, when Gene and Hunter started the podcast at the beginning of this season, getting the power rankings and hearing everybody's opinions from the beginning, like, oh, the Padres are in a rebuild, they're the underdog this year.
Right.
I'm sitting here thinking, like,
we just won last year.
Come on now. But to say that everyone was pulling for the Blue Jays to be number one again, which in all fairness, it could have gone either way from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And so we still had to prove through the entire season that we were contenders for that number one spot.
I wouldn't say contenders. I would say that
Defenders,
but also when you have a great coach, when
I ain't gonna say that.
I wouldn't want to play poker against this guy right here because
I ain't gonna say I'm a great coach. Say that.
Because Nick Dixon, as I like to call him, Skip, he won't show you his full hand. He's always got something up his sleeve like a magician. But when I heard Charlie wanted to pitch the first game, I said, look at this.
So you talk about once we got to that point now.
Well, yeah, once we got to that
how
point.
we got to that point is beyond me, because I'm going to be honest with you, going through the year, we won on one of the worst teams on a walk-off. I don't know who was there, the Cardinals. We won a walk-off, and I knew we had deficiencies throughout
Christian
the team.
Brown,
Christian
Brown hit that walk-off
against
ball.
one of the worst teams in the PBA. So, I mean, I knew going into the season, I knew once I got the team together, I felt like, I'm being honest, I felt like we couldn't win a championship, but we could get there with what we had. Because the Blue Jays had a veteran team. There's no way they should not win it, you know, with what they had and what we had. So my style was, okay, well, some of these outfielders we got, they're going to have to get on, steal bases, play small ball. That's the style of baseball we had to play in order to generate runs.
And I recall from the first half of the season, showing up to the field with a feeling of uncertainty. There were a lot of games where we showed up and I was like, are we going to have enough guys? Are we going to win today?
Well, the uncertainty came with are these guys going to remember the signs? When Skip puts on the bunt sign, are they going to pick it up? Because we did have to play small ball.
We had to play small ball, what we had.
And we didn't have the star power either. But I will say our pitching staff was top notch. We had depth.
It was the deepest pitch staff we ever had.
We had depth. We had experience, you know, and if you're having a bad day, we got the next guy that can come back and fill in your shoes.
And if he's having a bad day,
we have another guy. But you know, our outfield was what? We had a minor leaguer, a pitcher, and Foster. We had three guys. We had Austin, and Christian Brown.
Now, going back, we didn't have a catcher. Sammy was
did not have a
obligated
catcher that year.
to something else. I mean, I was
he was starting to low.
I had to catch a game.
We had to catch a game. We didn't have a catcher. And I went out into the Mexican League. You know, they got a metal bat league. And I saw a catcher. I said, we need a catcher. And I worked hard. I brought in Evan. Poor Evan. He tried. We lost 3-0 in the game with three pass balls. They scored Blue Jays. So we lost that game, and they might have got a hit RBI. But at the end of the day, I went out and tried to work hard to get a catcher. And I lucked up and found the guy was in the Braves organization.
Yeah.
You know?
What are the odds of that?
Yeah, what are the odds of that? But I was working hard to find one. But going into the series that year, and I'm going to tell you something. And I said this to Randall. I say, and me and Randall have a conversation on the phone. This is my podcast partner. So I told Randall, not cocky and arrogant, I said, we're going to win this series. I said, we're going to win the series. I did not feel like that when we lost to Due West. When we lost to Due West, I did not feel like that. But once we got to that point, I said, we're going to beat the Blue Jays. I know we're going to beat them. I had so much confidence because of what I could do as a manager and what my guys listen to me do. And with my pitching staff, I felt like I got them. And going into game one, I mean, you know, these guys, y'all guys show heart. We was behind that game.
We was
behind that game, 3-0 in like that is 5th or 6th inning. Without Nephew pitching. Without Nephew pitching. Nephew was not eligible to pitch that game because he was EH. And he got there late.
Yeah, he did.
He got there late. So they up 3-0. And I know I didn't have the team that could come back and win a game. But I say, okay, if you leave that guy in, because we already hitting him, we're going to get him.
Oh, yeah.
And he did exactly what I knew he was going to do, leave him in. And Austin, did you hit a home run that game? 3-run shot?
Yeah, he did.
No, it was a 2-run shot, but it was to take the lead.
It was take the lead.
But that going back to what we talked about earlier about momentum, this is a prime example of that. We had the odds against us.
Yep.
We were down 3-0. Neffy gets into the box, makes something happen. We hadn't touched. It was Matt.
They play good defense. We was hitting them hard.
That's what the Blue Jays do, is play good defense. And we hadn't touched Matt Craig all day. Neffy steps up, puts the ball in play, gets on base. And from there, the momentum just kept rolling in. And Connor Dahl steps up a couple batters later.
Victor.
Yeah.
Hits a couple guys in. We're tied.
Yeah, we're tied.
And then I get the opportunity to step in the box and do something that every baseball player dreams of doing, is step in and hit a go-ahead home run. And I wasn't thinking about doing that. I just wanted to see a pitch that somewhere around the zone that I could do some damage to. And thankfully, Matt Craig got left in long enough to make a mistake, and which he doesn't do many of. He doesn't make many mistakes.
He pitched good.
He did. And it was icing on the cake that he has had my number since the first day I faced him 4 or 5 years ago. And it was a good experience overall.
Sammy was big in that game. He moved over a couple of guys and kept the inning going. As a matter of fact, I think he reached on one of those bunts at one time. Sammy was big. But, here's the key to the whole series. They're thinking I'm going to start Neffy. I started Jeremiah and Will. That's how deep our pitching staff was, because those young guys, at some point, I figured Will and Jeremiah are ready. And Will don't pitch a lot because Will's not ready. But now I said this year Will was ready. He closed out that game.
As we go back to the development of the players through the years, what you did with Will and Jeremiah was help them develop to be better pitchers.
Not throwers.
Not throwers. I mean, anyone go on the mound and throw a ball, but mentally prepare yourself and developed through the years to be in those situations. I mean, if you're not cultivated and you're not developed, those guys would never handle those situations at all.
I was confident giving them the ball.
Both of them being in that situation over the last few years.
Yes.
They went into this series with some confidence because they'd been there before. They'd been exposed to those stressful situations against a team that has every right to create stress for another team. So,
well, it would be like a rerun, though, because we did play them the following year, so... But,
But, going into game 2, at the end of that game, though, I told Tanya, I told Randall, the series over. That's how much confidence I had. I knew once we got game 1, I knew the series was over. Well, they was not going to beat Neffy in game 2.
No, game 2, no.
They was not going to beat Neffy in game 2.
I mean...
They was not going to beat Neffy in game 2.
When you put Neffy on the mound, it's cruise control. I mean, he's going to take control of the game, of the situation. He's tunnel vision. He stays within himself, and he does his job. He throws his fastball, throws a slider. I mean...
And he's got the big league stuff.
He's got the big league
stuff.
He knows how to get his outs.
He is a former big leaguer. So, that's expected.
We led that whole game, won that game. It was a little competitive, but with Neffy on the mound, I felt our chance was just too good.
Then game 3, we came back, and
it's in Antwerville. Game 3 in Antwerville.
Yeah, we had to travel to them.
Series 2-0.
And we knew what happens in Antwerville. We know what happens. It's like an extension of Kelton. I don't know what happened, but we knew there's going to be a lot of jawing. We knew there was going to be a lot of back and forth. So, we went with game 3. We went with
Dumas. And everybody wanted me to start Neffy. Neffy said, "Nick, I want the ball." I said, "Neffy, no."
He just threw a whole game.
You threw 100 some pitches. You're not throwing Saturday.
No.
Neffy was mad at me. I think he was on his way to my house to fight me. Because Neffy wanted the ball in game 3, and I said, "No, you're not getting the ball, Neffy. No."
Well, Dumas came in, did a good job.
Dumas did a great job.
He did a great job.
Dumas did a great job.
They haven't seen a lot of Dumas. He had to take a sabbatical for some reason for work.
5 runs and 2 innings.
And then
that's what hurts.
We came in with
Colin pitched out to Dumas.
Yes, Colin.
Colin,
Colin
another
was another great pickup.
Fire. Yeah.
So we had Colin, and then he shut the door on that series.
Well, what happened that series? They jumped out on us 5-0 in the first 2 innings.
Yep.
And I wasn't overly concerned because I said, "Well, we're gonna have to ride this one out. And if they win, they win. Let's relax. Yep. Tomorrow we're gonna close this thing out." And that's how I felt. But let them have one. And that's how I felt about it. Let them have one. Guys, let's get out of our system. My main factor in going into game 3 on the Saturday was we don't play good on Saturdays.
No.
The Padres don't play good on Saturdays because it's fresh out the weekend, and if I started Neffy that game, we probably lose. Because we don't play good. So I said, okay, Neffy got the ball Sunday. Give people think about Saturday. Bam. And we blew them out Sunday.
Kyle's not going to like to hear that. Giving him one game in the championship series, that's going to ruffle his feathers a little bit.
Ooh, Kyle?
No,
Kyle.
Oh,
but
that's basically what we did.
Yeah.
I said we were going to win the series.
Yeah.
Going into the series, I said we were going to win. I'm pretty sure somebody told him.
Yeah.
I knew it was
but it's not like Nick. It's not like Nick said, "Here's this game." I mean, we made them earn it.
Oh yeah,
You had to earn it against Dumas and Collins.
Absolutely.
You just had to earn it.
Nothing against those guys, but we did not hit. And
No,
that
we
pitcher,
did not
that
hit.
pitcher kept us on strike. He did a great job.
Yes,
Who's that? Grant McKinney.
Yeah, McKinney had us off.
He did a great job. He
We
pitched
were
a good game.
We couldn't stay back. We couldn't tell if it was a fastball, curveball, slider. We didn't know what was coming. They had our number that day, pitching wise.
You was out in game 4. Tell us about game 4, Matt, because and my thing is when you win a championship, there's some guys who wants to win a championship in the PBA. They want the feel of winning the championship. I feel like some of the guys on this team still did not get that feel. There was a lot factored into that game, and I'm not gonna be negative or Debbie Downer about it, but they still did not get that championship experience because it was taken away from us.
Well, we couldn't enjoy, when you got people rushing the field and, you got people, bad mouthing you. And you know what? You got to take your losses like a man. You got to just accept what happens. And when our families aren't allowed to come onto the field and enjoy it with us, and we can celebrate as a team, I don't think we ever started any problems with anybody. We come in there with a professional mindset, which you instill in us is, stay professional, be professional, keep everything in between the lines. And when we won, it just felt like, you have different people, still bad mouthing. Then they want to talk about, things were happening off the field,
cursing, play with kids running around.
Of course, I mean, you can't do that.
Taken away from us.
And even not only that, I mean, during the season, like during that series, there was, like, I was so confused on, I didn't know who was being called a name, and I was like, and I pondered on it for like 2 games. I'm like,
yeah, we were looking at each other.
You?
I don't know. They cussed us out. I mean,
I mean, there's
for
a way.
For whatever reason, we was getting cussed out.
Well, listen, if you can't beat us, I mean, I guess you're gonna have to like find a way. I mean, we do it with the hitting and the pitching and executing what we do on the field. But I mean, when push comes to shove, I guess you got to find whatever way. And it was kind of bad that we couldn't enjoy the victory.
Yeah.
I mean,
we were just ready to go.
Yeah.
We didn't, like when we won with the Rangers, when we beat the Rangers, that was a celebration on the field. But when we won this series, we still didn't. It didn't feel like we won it. But what goes hidden is that's a repeat, guys. And we want to give them guys that feeling again. So what we got to do?
Well, not only the satisfaction for us to enjoy the win, but when you have the umpire, it was forced to make that decision. I mean, I would have never wanted to win by forfeit, which you know what? Listen, I'm happy that he didn't yell forfeit.
I don't know how he stayed long as he stayed.
He did stay one inning too long, but I mean, he took himself out of the situation, which once he did that,
the game was over pretty much.
With the umpire behind the plate being the chief, I thought that once he leaves, the other one's got to follow. But they took it upon themselves to finish the game, which, guess
what? If they hadn't left, I'm pretty sure the other team would have said the game incomplete. Something would have happened. So I'm glad they finished. Even though we was up big.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it always would have been something.
Always got to look for technicalities. There's always a technicality.
Something.
And
you know that.
When you have to revert to a technicality or going back to think that there was a technicality, you're kind of killing yourself right then and there, and you're just showing your team, well, I don't know if we're going to beat these guys.
Yeah, that's
which they could have won because we had no outfield. We didn't have an outfield.
Well, we don't talk about outfielders. Them guys gave it hard.
No, they did.
They gave it hard.
No, I'm saying is, we only had 1 year with them.
Oh yeah.
And they were fresh.
It was rebuilding. Yeah,
right. So we couldn't. I mean, it wasn't enough to develop them to know, hey, what to do in certain situations. But next year's a different story when we all come back together.
So how many is that? For the Padres, that's 5.
But I got.
You got 3.
I got 2. My third.
You got 4.
My third one's on the way.
And 6 finals, and that was a repeat. So
I had this year I had to clinch the division for us. You know, you had to leave for other obligations, and
That's right.
you
that's
handed
right,
me the
that's
book
right,
and said,
that's
Matt, this is what you got to do. And I said, you know what? I got to take it in my hands, and I got to win this one for us, so we clinch. But I'll tell you what, this year was more. It was more sentiment for us.
Yeah.
Because this guy won his 100th.
I did.
You won your 100th this year, and we did it on your own stomping ground. You know, and we couldn't have done it, you know, without you at the helm. And we knew what was on the line that game. So we took everything and just kept going forward. Because we know how much you do for us.
That's right.